probably one of the best, friggin' violent horror enemies of its genre, of a genre of its time. You have Vampire Hunter D, which to caveat with Helsing last week of
Goodness.
horror-based animes for Halloween in October. So basically, what is it, like 10,000 or 1,000? 10,000 years into the future, the Earth has become a different place. Vampires rule and roam freely. They're equipped with high-tech weapons and cybernetic horses and stuff like that. I mean, it's craziness, basically, how far they go into the future, how much it seems kind of like the past if you stop and think about it. But there's what the fuck is that? There's an evil count. What is his name? Something Lee, isn't it?
Magnus. Actually, yeah, if I remember right, yeah, you just said it. Sorry.
But basically, he's a evil vampire lord that's either, depending on how long in the future it is, ruled for centuries or thousands of years and stuff like that. And basically, he decides to go ahead and pick this young girl as his new plaything and bites her and turns her and stuff like that. Well, unbeknownst to him, she seeks out the help of D, which at the time I don't think she knows that he's a. No, I think she knows that he's a vampire hunter, but it's not real. I don't remember.
Yeah, she knows he's a vampire hunter, but I don't think she knows that he's a Dampio.
Yeah, I don't think she knows he's the Don Mega of slicing up, bloodsuckers. So, on top of that, as far as the violence goes, as Remo said last week, definitely gonna have to put this on another scale on its own as far as blood and gore and violence. It definitely gets what would you say, about an 8.5 out of 10?
Oh, shit, I'd give it a 9 because it's old hand-drawn animation and not the finest, but it's still very bloody, very gory, and it's a very dark and good story.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely one to check out. I mean, it is just one movie. I think it's maybe an hour and 15 minutes, if that. So if you just want to sit down and not have to be committed for episode after episode, like with Helsing, you can sit down and enjoy either Vampire Hunter D or Bloodlust. I mean, if you're gonna do Bloodlust, you probably want to watch this one.
Yeah, definitely check out the first one first, and then go into the second one because it shows the passage of time. Like you said, I love the feel of the opening of this because it's in the future, post-apocalyptic, dystopia future filled with these horrible creatures. Like, basically, during our modern time period, vampires were real and in hiding, and they decided to come out en masse and basically sent us back to the Stone Age. And now they rule the world with us cowering in fear. And this one, as you find out during the story, I'll give that a little bit away, you find out that he's half vampire. And he's hunting down other vampires, and it's not till later on you kind of figure out what's going on. And then after the first one, the second one's really great because watch the first one first, because then by the time you get the second one, it shows the passages of time, his weariness, what's going on. Not much has really changed at this point. Some of it has, but there's still these until the end of that movie, a lot of very powerful vampires still around. And it shows more of his human connection to people and the sadness to that of being a Dampir and living through all these different lifetimes and spans of it.
Yep.
I haven't watched Vampire Hunter D, actually. It's one that was on my list, I think, to watch. Hasn't ended up being watched because of things. I've heard good things about it, though, so.
Definitely worth the watch, in my opinion. I mean, if you ever get the time and stuff, sit down, want to watch it. That one's also on kissanime.com as well, along with both of them. I think they even have a dub and a sub version of them.
Yeah, and they're both actually really good. I like the American voice, and I love the Japanese voices also. This is actually one of my first 3 animes I ever saw as a kid, back in, the late 80s. Yeah, I know I'm old. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'll say it before you can say that. Fuck you. Before you can say it. But I don't think it's nostalgia. It still holds up. And the newer one is amazing when you watch it back to back. If you don't mind, can we do a little bit of spoilers and warn people and get into a deeper conversation about it, man?
I'm good with it if you are. I mean, you could always cut this out of the video later.
Well, hell, we'll just say spoiler warning and just skip it. So, spoiler warning, skip if you don't want to hear. But I love the fact that, one, it shows his humanity in that hand, that talking hand that you find out he got from his father. It was a gift. It's like a demonic possession in his hand. Vampire Hunter D is a very serious character. He doesn't talk much unless there's something that needs to be said. Just like the little boy says about him and about his father. And the hand is very good. Like, he's very serious, stoic, and small talk, but the hand is very comedic, smart ass, and will never like to shut the fuck up if it had the chance. And it's a very good balance playing off of each other, and I like how the story goes, because at first you don't know he's a Dampier, he just looked like this badass vampire hunter, and then you get more deep into who he is, what these people are going through, and then it starts to shine light on his past. Like the hand says, well, since your father gave me to you, and you're like, okay, and he's half vampire, and then by the end of the series, when he's fighting this OP fucking vampire duke or whatever.
The Count.
Yeah, the Count.
Magus.
Yeah, and he's always talking about these old vampires and what the old vampires would do, and then he realizes who Vampire Hunter D's father is. And boy, is that a fucking revelation that his father...
Right.
Yeah, is Count Dracula. That makes Maxim just flip the fuck out and know, okay, I'm fucked.
Yeah, he pretty much goes, oh, well, this was fun.
But see, and I love how that plays into the next movie and the passage of time, because by the time you get to the next movie, it's literally been another 1,000 years almost, and the vampires are on the decline now, but still they're in charge while the humans aren't. But the humans are starting to get to a point where their communities are a lot more safer and they have a lot more dedicated and powerful hunters. But there's still some vampires out there that are just humans cannot deal with. And
yeah,
he makes a connection with this woman where, you know, if he wasn't a Dampier and lived forever and would just see her end up dying, you know they would have fallen in love. But because of what he's been through from like the first movie and everything else from the books, like he can't make that connection, but he actually lets her in and they become friends.
Charlotte, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the movie it's so sad because it shows a funeral and it's all bright and sunny and they're talking about how there's like not been any vampires for like the last 20 years. And this little girl standing there and she sees Vampire Hunter D off in the distance and you're like wondering what's going on. And she walks up to him and she's like, my grandmother told me about you. She said you were the most amazing man that she ever met. The man that his honor couldn't be broken or something like that. And she goes in this tale and he's like, why are you here? He's like, well, we made a promise to each other that when whoever died, we would I can't remember exactly, but they made a promise where either one of them died. Well, in his case, it would be just because he was murdered since he's immortal, or her from old age because she never thought she would live to see it, that one or the other would end up at their funeral to show that they at least had somebody in their life that gave a damn about them and actually cared for them. And I thought that was very touching, and it kind of showed why he's so standoffish and how he is the way he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's the humanity side coming out, and you gotta love that about a character that's supposed to be just, a lot of people all the time want to be like, oh, he's balls to the wall badass and stuff like that, but then when they show that side of him, it's just like, oh, well, that's fucking awesome too, though.
You can have badass characters, but nothing makes them great unless they have a great story, a great character behind them, and great character revelations, and the character evolves with time and through events, like like a real person would. That's what really draws.
I agree.